Everyone, hello and welcome to HRL MegaMix Series week number 4. This is the Reach Oval week, doing Chicagoland and Boulder Bay. Had some different tracks potentially set in the lineup. This is the one that we ended up with. So this night, no heat races, just qualifying and straight to the mains. And so as we go through the order here, that'll be the qualifying results. Fireball first, Luke second, Slaunch third, Soar, fourth, Opix, fifth, Detail, sixth, Armada, seventh, Soul, eighth, ninth, Hunter, Roman, 10th, Coop, 11th. That's the order. 50 laps, 101 on the checkpoint. Green flag. So the start going to be very important on this one. You never know how these reach races will go as far as cautions are concerned. Big Bear was, from what I can recall, the one that had quite a few in the reach throwback, maybe another race, but the wider tracks like this and then like the super speedways tend to usually be a bit cleaner, so these starts are very important. Fireball holding on to the lead early on, fighting the outside. Slaunch currently holding on a third. Opix trying to pull up in front of Soar for fourth. So he's going to have that spot. Detail now going to try to take advantage. Enters way in the top 5 as well. Very tightly packed so far, not surprising.
Checkpoint reached.
Yeah, this is definitely an inside favored track, because most of these reach tracks are. But this one, when you're in a battle, I mean, see it early on, the outside can actually get some decent runs, and that's the case on a lot of the better reach tracks. I think it's definitely the case on Boulder Bay, which you'll see later tonight as well. Where the outside may not be the main line, but in battles and pack situations, it still has a use, and it'll still be relevant throughout the race, especially on Big Bear. You don't see it as much here, although I do think you see it a little bit, but especially on Big Bear later tonight, I think you'll see a bit of that. But yeah, Loose holding on the outside, and Soar's holding on the outside. These top 5 positions so far, they're taking quite a while to get past. Maybe just now starting to happen, but yeah, they've been holding on to those positions for quite a while. We have a 3 wide developing in the middle. Let's detail the inside Opix in the middle there. And yeah, Soar, maybe he's going to lose it now because now he has to go a little bit higher. Can't run that high side as tight as he was able to before. So now he's got Opix in the middle. So he's going to lose a little bit of time there. Now he's going to have Hunter to his inside, and he's just, I mean, yeah, he's just in a brutal position. Outside start can be rough. Again, you want to try to get to that inside as quickly as you can. And look at this battling for the front right now. It's Detail and Opix going both ways around Slaunch for third. Slaunch trying to pick a line, trying to hold off one of those spots. Don't want to get twofered here. Opix will lose a little bit of time. See if he's slammed down to the inside, not going to. So, and Luke even leading for a little bit there, and it's going to open up. It's going to open up the inside. Fireball now getting passed by Detail. Detail making big moves in the last few laps. Luke leading that lap. Fireball just not able to clear them. I mean, he got the pole position in qualifying, but yeah, he's just not been able to clear them in the race so far. He's going to go down to third now. Detail and Luke to front 2 spots. Luke still holding around the outside. Slaunch now starting to migrate towards the outside. And Fireball still holding strong on that inside. Big slide move right there. Detail holding the lead from Luke. We might have another lead battle developing. Third place still super close. Slaunch and Fireball have been right there the entire race. Hunter has actually worked his way into this top 5, and he's now in the conversation. Opix still in 6th place and still not too far off, but he'll probably need a little bit of pack battling to help him catch up a bit. It's just a little too far behind, but not out of it. I mean, realistically, that's unfortunate. Roman's probably the only one that's out of it at the moment, unless there's a caution. Everybody else, I'd say, is still in it. It's not going to be easy from these back positions, but it's a little bit of pack battling. You never know what could happen. Could bring any of these guys back into this race. And so far, pretty good, clean battling. And I mean, yeah, you can see how the Reach Ovals go. It's a little bit different style of oval racing than, you know, we're used to seeing from other games that we raced at, or even what we just raced with the Hogs at Hogtona. And not just Hogtona, but any of the Hog tracks, really. The Hog Oval racing, very, very different than the Reach Ovals on these gooses. Big runs from behind. Detail still holding on to the lead so far, though. But yeah, you'll see it. It's interesting. It can actually produce some really good results. it tends to be more strung out at times, unless you get the cautions. But when there are good battles that emerge, when there is a convenient time in a race where two drivers are like really close on pace and they end up being next to each other for the lead, I mean, it can produce some really good results. And so far, I'd say that. Oh, what? Why are we freezing? All right, classic. Oh, there we go. That's nice. So far, about a quarter of the way through the race, I'd say it's been pretty good, but we are starting to single out a bit, but not to the point where anything is like settled quite yet.
Checkpoint reached.
Yeah, Detail's still holding on to the lead here, but he's got Luke and Solange very close behind him, and they've separated the top three. It's definitely gotten away here. It's Hunter and Opix. Opix has maybe closed that gap a little bit, but they're pretty close for 4th and 5th. And they've kind of got their own mini pack going on there, and then behind them it's got to be Soar, or no, it probably is Fireball at this point. Fireball and Soul. Wow, Fireball falling outside of the top 5, and then Soar, I think, finally getting to the inside. I think that's him there. And Fireball running very similar colors, but pretty sure I have that correct. Yeah, it's difficult, man. A Fireball, great qualifying lap, and definitely had the pace, but for whatever reason just did not fire off as quickly as everybody else, and he's put himself pretty deep in the field. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought he'd be pretty strong here, especially after the qualifying performance, and obviously he's not as used to the Hogs, and he was actually doing really well at Hogtona, the moto that he did race, so I'm a little surprised at how far back he's fallen. I'm not as surprised for Soar because his starting position outside row 2 is a tricky one. That's not an easy one to manage, so that's a little less surprising. Here we go. This might be it. The tire's showing. There it is. Battle for the lead. Luke making the move on Detail. Now to the inside. Slaunch lurking behind, but not. No, maybe going to try to take advantage of this, but not quite yet. I think Detail maybe have still led that lap, but I mean, the pass for the lead is definitely on. We'll have to see how he handles it. But interestingly enough, not running the true outside as much as like what we saw with like Fireball and Luke earlier, where, and I think Soar as well, where they're running above the bumps in the outside line. Detail not doing that. Interesting to see if that works out better this way or not. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm not exactly sure how it balances out. I mean, so far it looks pretty decent. Not able to complete the pass yet, but it's taking so long that it's opening up the door for Slaunch as well. Detail may have to go, may have to think about going far outside and like working a crossover here at this point, because this is definitely going to be 2-for-1 opportunity now.
Checkpoint reached.
Now Luke's going to move solidly to the lead. Slaunch going to try to make the move for 2nd now too. You see, he's going to have. I think right there, Details immediately. Yeah, I think he's finally had enough. Just lets them have it. Gonna try to get back on the inside, work it down, and all that battling helped out Hunter tremendously. I mean, look at this Hunter. And he has to be running some pretty good laps too. I mean, he's up here now. Hunter definitely in the conversation, has gotten away from Opix. Opix and Hunter are really close for 4th and 5th, but not really anymore. Hunter's worked his way into this top pack, and I mean, Hunter did have some strong performances in several of the Reach Ovals. It was definitely one of his better categories, so we'll see if he can continue that here. I don't know if he ever got a win, but he came very close. Slaunch already maybe making the move for the lead. So side-by-side battle for the lead, and look at the gap now. Slaunch is going to take it right there. That's going to be lead spot, pretty much halfway exactly point of the moto here. Just rolling by, no cautions yet, and no cautions in sight unless something crazy happens. I mean, these guys are looking pretty clean so far. It's going to have to take something wild, some miscalculation for that to happen at this point. So yeah, qualifying very important in this one. Probably the most important for any of the races that we've done with it in the season so far. Now with the switch-ups, I'll mention it now. Roman calls it calls it a night there, fair enough. Was not finding the 95 and had enough after that. But yeah, it is interesting. I do think this is probably, well, this race in particular, obviously there's we're just doing the invert, no qualifying for the second race tonight, just the normal invert. But I do think this is probably the most important it was for any of the nights that we've done it so far. Because, again, these Reach Ovals, like, used to it with some of the other oval races in other games where, you know, it feels like you can start in the back and really work your way up. But in these Reach Ovals, it's not always like that. You can do it, absolutely, but it's not always like that. It can be very hard to do, especially if you don't get some help from cautions. If you don't have a good starting position, you can, be in a really rough spot and just not have enough time, even if you have pretty good pace to work all those positions. It's really hard to make passes. It's not hard to, have differences in pace. I mean, we've already seen it throughout this race. Different drivers at different times. Like, it's not hard to do that. But actually, like, completing passes is really difficult and takes a lot of time. And, the longer that takes, harder it's going to be to work your way from the back. So, just very, very important in this race, I'd say. Interestingly enough, so the difference in this night with the qualifying and no heats, next week, TRS week, is going to be back to a different format. So obviously we just did Iron Hog. Let's take a look at this mid-pack for a little bit, because this one's kind of cooking it. They're a little bit closer than the top 4 right now. Actually, we'll mention that in a moment. I'm going to do a race update pack check on the line this time, and then we'll take a look at that. So yeah, we're about 2/3 of the way through the race. It's Slaunch, Luke, Detail Hunter, Soul now has worked his way into the top 5, Opix, and then we're gonna have to check because Soar now. Soar has worked his way in front of Fireball now too. So Soar, then Fireball, and then a bit of a gap, and then Coop and Armada. And I mean, yeah, you could see it here. I mean, there's definitely quite a gap in these reach races.
Checkpoint reached. Lap complete.
It'd be different on the different tracks as well. I mean, some of the tracks are a little bit different than others as far as that goes. Some of them are a little bit closer. Some of them you can really get some big differences in the times. But we did see it in qualifying. I mean, there was qualifying was pretty tightly packed. It was really close to the pole, but I mean, there was from first to like 8th or so, probably like 3 or 4 tenths difference or something like that. So that's pretty decent gap as far as like an oval goes. I mean, that being said, for the top 3 or 4 spots, I mean, they were, well, yeah, I think the top 3 in particular was like within hundredths, which that's not too surprising either. Slaunch really running away with it at this point, having a really nice lead gap. As long as there's no caution, I mean, there's already getting to the last quarter of the race. I mean, that's a huge gap. That'd be really hard to throw away. Top 3, there is some potential there, but it's probably going to take a little bit of a mistake or some really strong runs. We're going to watch the mid-pack, as I talk about next week. This is where we see some good battles going on with Opix trying to hold off Soar and Fireball. Yeah, so going on with the different formats, like this week was like the slight special format, still pretty similar to what we usually do, but just slightly different in the pre-race. Last week, obviously, we had Iron Hog was the massive format, huge motos, qual heats, whatever. So next week is massive in its own right, but not to the extent of Iron Hog. I think next week, this week felt very quick. A lot of people commented on that as we're racing this week. Felt very quick. I think there's potential for next week to feel very quick as well, even though there's a lot of racing. But so next week we've got the TRS week, going to be 4 races, and going to have some voting going on. We're going to do 4 races for the 4 different games that we race on MCC. So Halo 3, H2A, Halo 4, and Reach. So we'll vote in some, some favorite TRS tracks for that. And then for H2A in particular, I'm going to try to cook up a Hog TRS and get that ready for race time. Because that was a funny idea for an experiment, and I think it's pretty funny. We kind of already did it on Reach, but we haven't done it with the H2A Hog, and that's kind of weird because obviously the H2A Hog is more of what we've raced. So I'm going to try to finally send on that. See if I can get that locked in, because again, I think it'll be pretty funny. But yeah, so we'll do that. That'll be the H2A one, and then for the other ones, do some voting throughout the week. Fan favorite type tracks, probably driver favorite type tracks. Figure out what that winds up to, and get the lineup sorted. So yeah, the TRS format already kind of fun in that sense with the voting in terms of like determining the tracks, kind of fun there. And then the race night as well. I'm gonna do it similar to what we did. It might be exactly the same, to be honest. I'd have to check. But similar to what we did in the TRS season, which is, well, of course, four motos in the night, right? We had 4 different tracks, 4 different games, 4 motos, of course. And the motos will be closer to like the TRS length, where it's like 10 minutes plus 2 laps or whatever, depending on the track. Different lap times may be a little bit different. So yeah, it seems like a lot because it's 4 tracks, 4 races, but the motos will be a bit shorter. And no heats. No heats Probably just like the inverted start from the top, and then just roll it through the night. So, going to be very similar to what we did. It might be exactly the same, to be honest, for the TRS season. So that'll be a big shake-up night. That'll be a fun one to watch. Very curious to see how that one goes. And obviously the track votes will play a role into that too. So we'll have to wait and see which tracks get voted in, as that'll be pretty important. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So if you're in the Discord and you're racing, keep an eye out for those polls and for those votes, and yeah, keep an eye out for that, because that'll determine what we're racing on that night. 2 laps to go. Yes, that is not a joke. 2 laps to go. Already here at the end of the race, and I don't think the caution's coming at this point.
Lap complete.
The gap is stretched out massively at this point, and it looks like this is probably going to be a white flag. One more time around. Solange picking up his first moto win in the season last week. So close to the sweep. Well, he's going to make up for that second moto here. The first moto at Chicagoland. Definitely going to take home the top spot in this one. There it is. Solange crosses the line in first. Second's going to go to Luke, detail third. There's some lappers in the mix. Clear up the confusion there. Hunter fourth, Sol fifth. Oh, let's get the quick pause. So, yeah, Sol 5th, Opix 6th. We're going to do this live, and it's definitely whoever's on the inside. Let's take a double check. It's Fireball. Wow, Fireball gets Soar at the line. We have a photo finish here in the mid-pack. Incredible. Fireball gets Soar at the line. 6th, 7th, and 8th right there.
Lap complete.
I'm fast-forwarding, no disrespect, to 9th, Coupe, and 10th, Armada. That is it. I mean, again, very quick. That's how it can go sometimes with the no cautions. I know it probably seems a little weird, but yeah, that was it. We're gonna see if I can. Oh, did it cheese? Did we get a crash? Well, I was gonna look at a replay of that photo finish, but if it crashed, then I'm not sorry. Oh, what? That's nice. No, we're good. All right, so let's take a look at a replay of that photo finish quick, because that was pretty hype and we missed it there at the end. So let's take a look at what happened. Well, something must have really happened here, because look at how far back Fireball is from Sword. This is going to 4 to go. I'm going to fast forward through this a bit. How did he make up this gap? I mean, there's no, like, cheesing of any way. It looks like he's running normally. Like, what happened here?
Checkpoint reached.
Soar maybe loses 95. Oh, he does. Wow, it's crazy that costed that much time. Soar got a bit of a run on Opix when Opix was trying to make something happen on Sol. And that checked up the inside line a ton. And that helped Fireball get up here. But it didn't quite give him the tire yet. But now I think Fireball right here just has a really good run on the backstretch. Yeah, maybe Soar lost the 95 for a moment there. Because Fireball did have a fantastic run. And that's white flag. I mean, they're still side by side. Soar actually closes this in from the outside. That's kind of crazy. I can see why. It looked like Fireball was going for the momentum steal cheese. But then he's got Opix in here as well. And that is the battle to the line. Wow, crazy photo finish between them there.
Lap complete.
All right, that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed the race. Definitely a quick one for Chicagoland. Yeah, that's how it can go sometimes. Sometimes these intermediates are like that, clean and green, no caution. Really good battling in the beginning. Obviously, it got strung out at the end. I did really enjoy the first 20 laps or so commentating that, though. Really up until the halfway point, there's some really good battles all the way in the front part of the field. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Slaunch, Luke, and Detail, the top 3. Fastest Slaunch and getting his second moto win of the season. We're going to have one more race tonight, Boulder Bay. And we're going to do invert for that. And yeah, that one, there's no way that one goes cautionless. Like, come on. There's no way. That one will probably be a bit longer, but hope you guys enjoyed it. See you there.